What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. Just wanted to show you guys how I'm installing a DSP5 switch on my 2006 Duramax LBZ. So I just installed the main wires into my main harness here. So you see this red wire right there and the black wire right there. You have to wire those into your main harness. Now, in order to remove the main harness from your ECM, which is right next to your driver's side battery, you have to actually take the smaller harness off down there, the one on the bottom. Okay, it's about half the size of this one and it's facing towards the ground. It has a lever. You just pull up towards the sky on that lever. Make sure you pull it up all the way. It's not going to release until you pull it up all the way. Then you're going to pull that bottom harness off, and then you're going to take this harness off, which has also a lever, but the lever goes down to the ground. So you're going to pull that lever nearly 180 degrees all the way until you can pull this off your ECM. And then you're going to have to take the cap off. There's two clips right here that hold the cap. Super easy to remove. You just take a small flathead screwdriver and just pry the cover off of those clips. Then you're going to have to run your power wire or your signal wire and your ground wire into these pins here. Okay, now you have to do this carefully. There's this pink retainer in here that slides in all the way. You got to take a flathead screwdriver, put it underneath the edge of this retainer tab, and then you're going to pull this whole thing out. Okay, the whole retainer tab is going to pull out, and then that will enable you to slide these wires into your connector. Now, with these pins, you know, make sure that you have everything positioned ahead of time, that you find the appropriate pins you're going to put these wires into, okay? Because once you pull that pink retainer clip out, basically all these wires are loose, okay? So they could fall out. So what I did was I positioned everything, kind of moved the wires out of the way because it's real tight, as you can see, and I kind of test fit the wires. Now the wire connectors, they have to go a certain way, and you have to use a flashlight and look down into the holes, because the wire connectors, they're designed, they're not, you can't just put them in any orientation. So you have to make sure that you're putting them in the right way or they won't go in, and you'll be able to test fit which orientation the connectors will go in without taking the purple thing out. So because you'll be able to slide in the connector a lot deeper if you're properly oriented before you remove the clip. Once you figure out the orientation, then you can remove the clip and push them in all the way and then put the clip back. If the clip doesn't want to go back, it means your wire's not in all the way. You got to really push it down in there. It goes down in deep. And you can also use a flashlight and look down at the pins, and you can kind of see which side of the holes is wider. And then you're going to look at your connector. There's on your connector, those little silver connectors. One side of the connector is a little bit wider than the other, and based on where that wider part is, you'll know which orientation the connector is going to go in. So you got to do this carefully. You got to have time. You want to definitely budget about 3 to 4 hours to do the whole install, from doing this and then running through the firewall. But then once you run your wires in, put the cap back on, put the connectors back on your ECM, and you definitely want to run your switch wire through the firewall first. Okay, you don't want to do this and then have forgotten to run through the firewall, because then you're not going to be able to get that switch through the firewall. Let me show you how I ran mine through the firewall. Hold on. So I ran my wire right through the main harness grommet here. You see that arrow? I just punched a little hole right above the main harness and just snaked the wire through. I made sure to electrical tape the connectors good to protect. You want to protect those connectors. They're very fragile, so when you're snaking your wires through the grommet, you want to do it carefully. Okay, you don't want to, you know, yank on it hard. You want to really wrap those connectors real nice with electrical tape to protect them from getting damaged when you're snaking. And you just tape, you know, just a regular piece of wire and just snake it through. And this is going to come through right above where the parking brake area is. You'll see the main harness going through just above the parking brake area. And so I'm gonna actually finish up right now, and I'll show you guys the finished product when I'm done. Oh, and one more thing, before you do the wiring portion into your main harness, make sure you disconnect both negative terminals of your batteries, okay? And what I also did, just to be safe, is I put a piece of tape over the actual terminal here, because if you're working, you know, you could hit this with a wrench, or you could have a wire come down and touch that negative terminal. You could short something out, create a bad situation. So just tape up your terminal if you're working close to it, so nothing metal can touch it, because you got a lot of different wires here. You got tools, all kinds of stuff going on. You don't want to accidentally create a short circuit. All right, guys, so connectors are back on the ECM. You can see the DSP5 wires right here coming out of the connector. I'm going to tape this up with electrical tape just to protect those wires, and we're going to run some wire loom. We're going to do some management here of the cable. We're going to wrap it in wire loom. We'll pull that wire through a little tighter so it's not flopping around in here. And but just make sure you take the bottom connector off first, and then when you're putting it back, you got to put your main connector on first and then your bottom connector. So reverse order when you're putting the connectors back. I gotta say, guys, doing this kind of work on an older generation Silverado is just so much easier. All the connectors are so much simpler, including the main ECM connectors. On my 2021, they have like these safety clips, and there's 3 connectors, and sometimes those safety clips get packed up with dried mud, and it's really hard to get them loose. You end up breaking stuff. These are just super easy. So let's see if we made a good connection or not. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go inside, and there's a little test button on the back of the DSP5 switch. We're gonna reconnect the batteries and then push that button, and if there's a green light, it means the connections are good and the DSP5 switch has been activated. All right, guys, so my DSP5 switch didn't come with an indicator button to tell you if you made a good connection. Usually there's a little button there and a green LED will light up. So what you can do is connect your EFI Live, and you see right here, you're going to go to data logging. You're going to go to scan tool. You don't want to select tuning. You want to select scan tool, and then you're going to want to do live data logging and display on screen, not record. And what you're going to look at is these PIDs right here. You see this E35 DSP5M, and it gives you the voltage and then the parameter there. So right now we're on tune 4. Watch what happens. I'm going to switch. See, it goes to DSP5 DSP5 and DSP5 okay, and you can see the corresponding voltage there. And then we just have the non-DSP5, which is just the economy tune. Okay, so there you have it. Okay, I'll do that one more time. We'll switch to the first setting. You see 2, 3, and then that's the extreme one. Okay, so this is an easy way to verify that your connection is solid. So now I'm going to figure out where I want to mount it. I really don't feel like tearing a lot of stuff apart, so I may just find an easy place to mount it, somewhere maybe under here. I don't really want it like sticking out somewhere where somebody can see it. I just think it kind of, I don't know, it doesn't really look the best when you have like a big old switch sticking out. It kind of makes it look a little ranky janky, you know. So I'm gonna try to maybe put it somewhere in here if I can take this panel off pretty easily and just put it right in through there. All right guys, so change of plans. I'm gonna mount the DSP5 switch just to the right of the ignition right here. So I took this whole panel off. As you can see, I got the whole panel out. Super easy to do on these old trucks. There's just these metal clips that go in here. You literally just pull them out. You see right here. The new trucks, like my 2021, they have all these plastic clips and they can break. I don't know why they do that on the new trucks. I guess so you can go to the dealer and spend money, but basically there's a straight shot down there. As you can see if I can turn the light on. You can see my foot down there. Okay, that goes straight down to the accelerator pedal. So we're gonna run the DSP5 switch up this little metal alley here. We're gonna drill a hole right there and mount the switch, and then we're just gonna do some wire management. We'll loom the wire in the engine bay, and we're good to go. So let's see how much longer this is gonna take. Hopefully not too long. Oh, and if you're gonna take this off, you gotta start your truck. You gotta put your shifter all the way down to the first gear, and then you gotta lower your steering wheel all the way down to be able to pull this part of the trim. And then same thing when you reinstall it, you got to keep it all the way down like it is now, and then then you can put it back when you're done. All right guys, got the switch mounted here finally. You can see all the positions there, and just got the wire going down in through here. So you're gonna just run your wire between those pieces of sheet metal. You can see my foot, there's the accelerator pedal, and you can see my foot. So once you pop this off, you're just gonna run it up through here, and then right through here. This seems to be the best location, just to the left of the fan. So it's gonna be like right in there. So I'm gonna get this put back on. We're gonna do some wire management, clean things up. I'm gonna loom up the wire in the engine bay, run some electrical tape on any exposed wires, and bundle things up, and we should be good to go. All right guys, so finished product. Check it out. There's our switch right there. I think it looks perfect. Can't wait to test it out. We just gotta clean up some of the wiring here. We got some loose wiring we got to bundle up and clean up, and we'll be good to go. All right guys, cleaned up my wiring. There's the switch right there, works perfectly. I actually had to use a little bit of super glue to get this ring with the numbers to stick to the plastic, because the glue that comes with it is like really weak. But I cleaned up the wiring. I just tucked it up underneath the parking brake. One thing, if you're gonna run the wires this way, is you got to watch out for the heat duct, which is basically right above the brake pedal. You don't want to run your wires right over the heat duct, because maybe over time it could affect the wires, especially the insulation could get brittle or something like that. Let me just show you how I cleaned up the wiring inside the engine bay, and then we'll do a quick test drive. Now, from what I understand, is that the Allison 1000 takes a good amount of time to relearn new tunes. Now, because you have 5 tunes on the DSP5, if you're constantly switching between the tunes, the Allison 1000 will never get a chance to truly adapt. So what you got to do is you got to pick 2 tunes that you want to mostly use, and just basically normal driving mode. You have your everyday typical, driving. And then for your other tune, you're going to want to put the truck in tow haul mode, and then switch to your other tune. And this way the Allison 1000 can learn that second tune in tow haul mode. Okay, so your transmission will learn 2 tunes, but if you're constantly switching, it'll never get a chance to really dial in those shift points. So really pick 1 tune for normal driving and then 1 tune for towing and stick with it. All right, guys, so you can see the shiny tape there going into the ECM connector. That's just my liquid electrical tape. So the bare little skinny wires were sticking out, and I coated them with liquid electrical tape, and then I ran some loom right here and zip tied to this harness that goes into the fuse box. I always like to leave a little bit of slack because you have your main positive cables here, and they kind of crisscross through where these wires go. So in case you have to take your positive cable off for whatever reason, you just want to have a little bit of play so you can wiggle things around. And then I use some more liquid electrical tape right there on the grommet where it goes through the grommet and zip tied to the main harness. So let's take it for a test drive and check some of the modes out. I'm a little bit afraid to check tune 5, but we're going to check at least tunes 2, 3, and 4 and just go nice and easy and see how it feels. All right, guys, let's take them for a spin, see how these new tunes feel. Dice in the mirror. There's my switch. I got it on 1 right now. Do you like the badges? Check it out. Duramax. Love those wheel rings. Look really good. I gotta get mud flaps. Gonna put some, forget the name of them, Rex Tech or something. Mud flaps. Protect my paint. All right, guys, I'm in tune 4 now. I'm gonna do a quick little pull for you. Let's see how it feels. Wow, that was crazy. Wow, huge difference from stock, that's for sure. Spools up super fast and real nice surge. Felt a lot like Betsy, my supercharged half-ton, my supercharged Trail Boss. Wow, the RPMs just shot right up, and yeah, super impressive, super impressive. I'll probably keep it on this tune. I'm on tune 4 now. I'll probably keep it on tune 4 for now, and for the towing tune, for tow mode, I'll probably run number 2 or number 3. I don't really do any heavy towing, so maybe number 2, but that's pretty much it for this one, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you got something useful out of it, and stay tuned for more LBZ Duramax content. And until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 P's. Prepare, practice, and persevere.